Hello friends, so today we're going to discuss the first three problems from the latest bi-weekly contest 32 from LeetCode. The problem set from this contest is very good. So let's start with the first problem. The first problem is kth missing positive number. So you are given an array AR which is sorted in an increasing order and an integer k. You have to find out the kth positive integer that is missing in this array. As you can see, you can find out the missing integers from this array. If you start from 1, 1 is not present, so 1 is missing, then 2, 3, 4 are present, then 5 is missing, 6 is missing, then 7 is present in this array, and so on. Then you can find out that the ninth or like the 5th missing array is 9. Okay, so what I did in this question is, because the constraints are very small, I have actually made a set to store what are the elements which are present. Okay, now then what I did, I will iterate over from 1 till a very large number, okay, and then see what are the numbers which are present in this array and which are not present in the array. If it is not present in the array and that number is 5th, like this is the 5th number which is not present in this array, I'll just print it out. This can be done in the simple way. So let's move on to the code part to make it more clear. This is, I have made a set to make the lookup very fast. Okay, so then you can also use binary search because it is sorted, but I have made a set here. Then what I did here is I have inserted all the elements in the set, as you can see in this here. Then what I did is total stores the total number of missing elements till this point. Then I iterate from 1 till a very large number, it can be 4 also. And then if what I see that if the ith number, if this I is present in the set, then it is not missing, so we just to continue. If it is not present in a set, it is missing, so we will increment our total. Whenever our total become equal to k, that's the kth missing number, so we return I. Okay, and this is return 0 because if I return at this point, then it will become a non-returning function, so I have returned 0. Okay, that's why. Okay, but the total for loop, it will always return at this point only, it will not reach at this point. Okay, now this is the first question. The second question is very good. It states that you are given a string, two strings actually, s and t. Your goal is to convert s into t in k moves or less. Okay, so what is the kth move? So what they do here is choose any index j from s. So s is the given string and you have to convert s into t, and then you can choose any of the index in s, and then what you will do here is you will cyclically shift that character by k positions. What does this mean? So let's assume that you have a and you have k equal to, let's assume 3. So what you will do, you will add or you will shift a 3 times, so it will become b, then c, then it will become d. Okay, so that's the thing, you will add actually 3 to it, this character. But if it if it is z and if you add like 2 to it, then it will become b. It will be cyclically going from z till a and so on. Okay, so the thing here is what you'll do, you are given k, and what you can do here is you can cyclically shift these characters by k moves. Then at every move, so like k will go from 1, 2, 3, 4. So like let's assume that you have to convert, look at this example, you have to convert input into output and k is equal to 9. So can you do it in k or less moves? Okay, so k will move from 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. When k reaches 6, so what you will do, you will increment I by 6 positions and it will become O. And same when k becomes 7, you will increment n, by 7 positions and it will become U, and rest are the same. So as you can see, you can assume that k is like a timer, it is increasing 1, 2, 3, and at every ticking point, at every k, you can take any of these integers and cyclically shift it. Okay, then you are asking that whether you can change all of the characters to from s till t such that you can do all of this with k less than or equal to 9. Okay, so this seems a little bit tricky, but let's move down to the drawing board to make it more clear. I will take the same example of input output, input and output. Okay, if both of the characters are same, if every character is same, then you don't have to shift anything, then it's fine. Okay, let's assume that if we go convert from I till O, how many shifts are required? 6. If we go from N to U, 7 shifts are required. Okay, let's assume that we go from A till B, then 1 shift is required. If we go from Z to, like, let's assume A, then also 1 shift is required. Okay, but what they say here is if K is equal to 1, let's assume that K is equal to 1. Now at this sticking point you can only choose one character. Okay, so let's assume that you have a string of AB or like a string of AZ, and you have to convert it into BA. At K equal to 1 you can choose any of the characters. So let's assume that you choose this pair and you convert A into B, but now K will become equal to 2, and if you choose Z with 2, if you add like K with 2, then it will become equal to B. So you cannot do this. So how will you do this, convert this A into like Z into A? Because as you can see, it is cyclically shift, so we will require one change now. So what you can observe here is if you add 26 to this, then this is equivalent, because 27 moves is equivalent to just changing by one move, because it is cyclic. I hope you understand, because if you go 1 2 3 4 26 times and then you just move one more time, so it is equivalent to just moving one time. Okay, because you are cyclically coming to this to the same character after 26 steps. So that's how we can use the same K again. I hope you understand. That's why the K is very large. Like K is very large in this example. Okay, so that's the whole thing. I'll tell you more. So what you have to do here is you have to check that whether the difference, what's the difference we need. So like let's assume that in this, the first difference from I to O we required 6, and from N to U we required a difference of 7. The both difference are like different. Both of the difference are different. So what does this means? That we have to find out the greatest K, because let's assume that if this is 7, if K is equal to 7, then we have assured that in the past K when equal to 6 we have satisfied this condition, because K starts from 1 2 3 and it will become 6, then this condition must have satisfied, then it becomes 7, then we will satisfy this, and thus in K equal to 7 we will satisfy every condition in the input and convert it to output. So we will have to find out the maximum K. Okay, but if two numbers are same that we require a difference of 2 7s, then at the first point, at the first instance of K equal to 7, we will satisfy this condition, and then when K becomes equal to 26 plus 7, then we will satisfy this condition, and thus K becomes equal to this. At this point we will satisfy both of the conditions, and then our answer will complete. So that's the whole point, or like the trick for this question. Let's move on to the code to make it more clear. So that's the code. First, this is the one condition I have seen, because there is nowhere written that the length of S and T are same, but because if we can convert S into T, both of the string length should be same now. So that's the one thing you have to see, that if the string length is not same, you cannot convert, because you are only cyclically shift only the characters, you are not adding or deleting characters. So if they are not same, then you cannot convert S into T, so it's just false. Then maxi stores the maximum K you will require. If it is less than or equal to K, maxi will store how many like cyclically shifts or like K you required for this process. If it's less than or equal to K, then answer is true, else false. So how you will go about this question? You will store the integer value for the first character, the ith character, in S, and same for the T. For every position from I, we will iterate over the whole length. For every ith character, we will store what is the difference between A and B character position, and then we find out the difference. Because it is cyclically shift, what we can do, because we have to convert A into B, so B is the final position. So B minus A, but it can become negative. So because as you can see, if we have to convert, let's assume that we have to convert z to a, then b is equal to a. B means that our final position is a, which is smaller. So if we subtract a minus z, then it will be negative. Okay, if we take the I-sky code of a and minus the I-sky code of 7, then it will be negative. So what you can do, you will add 26 and then a modulus 26. So it will always be positive number. Okay, if the difference turn out to be 0, what does this mean? If it means that both the characters are same. Okay, if both the characters are same, then the difference between them is 0. Then we just continue, we'll do nothing. But what we will do there, if this difference is not 0, what we will check that in the map we will store what are the different distances or different differences we store in the map. Map will store how many different differences we have to count. Okay, so what we will do there, if we have seen this difference earlier, so let's assume that we have first a difference of 7, then we again found a difference of 7, then this will not appears to be a difference of 7, it will become as a difference of 26 plus 7. Okay, that's what our main thing is, that's what I've explained. So if we have seen the difference earlier, what we will do, we will increment it by 26, and maxi is just the maximum of this at every point. What is the map value? It is the maxi. Else if it is not, we have not seen this difference earlier, difference is just this difference only. Okay, so let's assume that, okay, if we have seen 7 for the first time, then this is the maximum difference we have to reach, and the next 6, then this is the maximum difference we have to just come up across. So which is the maximum this among 7 and 6, which is 7. So k must be less than or equal to 7, then it is fine. Okay, so that's the main trick. Let's move on. Okay, and then we have to do, if ampere difference is not seen, then we just make the difference and find out the maximum among all of these map values, and then at the end we'll check that if maxi is less than or equal to k, then up to output true, else false. Okay, let's move on to the third question. The third question is also interesting. It states that you have to find the minimum insertion to make it as a balanced parenthesis. In a balanced parenthesis, you have to see that for every opening there is a closing, but they have modified this question. It states that for every opening there should be 2 closing. So this is a balance for this question. For this opening there are 2 closing, for 1 opening 2 closing, like 2 openings and 4 closing. Okay, so you have to see that if you are given a string, you have to tell that how many opening or closing parentheses you have to insert in this string such that it will become a balanced string which follows these conditions. Okay, so for this question, what you can observe here is, let's erase this first. Okay, so what you can understand, or like in most of the questions of balanced parentheses, we use stack. Okay, else if we don't want to use stack, we can do it in O of 1 space using a pointer or something. Okay, a variable. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to make 2 variables, one is count and one is answer. So I will tell you with 2-3 examples to make it more clear. Okay, so let's find out for these examples. Okay, so what you can see here is count will store for every opening. I will increment my count, which is just like a stack. Okay, if there's an opening, we will just insert in our stack, so the size of the stack will increase. So what we'll do, if for every opening we will increment our count, it is an opening, increment our count, opening, increment our count, opening, increment our count, and thus there are 4 openings. In the end there are 4 openings, and thus what we can find out that our answer is, if there are 4 openings, count will store in the end how many openings are there. Okay, so if there are 4 openings, then to balance it out, we required for every opening there are 2 closing. So there are 4 opening, then 2 into count is the answer. Okay, let's move down to this. If there is a closing, let's erase this. Okay, if there is a closing, then if there is a closing, then there are some few conditions you can see. If there is a closing and the previous is a opening, so let's assume that you are iterating over the string and you have seen one closing. So at this ith point, it might happen that there might be a opening in the front, and then you find a closing. Okay, so if you find an opening, you will increment our count. If it's like this, opening, closing, closing. For an opening, you will increment a count, then you find a closing. For a closing, you have two cases. The next one of this closing, for a closing, the next one is also a closing. If you find out that there's an opening and then there are two closing, it will find a valid part, so you can cross it out from the whole string because it is balanced. Okay, so what you can do, if you see a closing, you will check that the next one is closing or not. If the next one is also closing, what you can do, you will check that whether count value must be having a opening. If the count value is positive, which means that it is having some number of opening parentheses, and now we have seen some closing, we can cancel this out. And if you cancel this out, then the answer will not increase because we don't need to increment some more parentheses because it is balanced already. But what you can see here is, if you find a closing and the count is 0, which means that there is no opening, and the next one is also closing but there is no opening, so which means that if there are two closing, then we just required one opening and then it will become balanced. So you will increment our answer by 1 plus equal to 1, which stores that how many you can cancel out this, and you will increment our answer. Increment our answer means that you have balanced out this, you have completed or balanced this part, so remove this from the whole series and then increment our answer by 1, which means that you have to increment one parenthesis here and then this part will become balanced. I hope you understand this part. Okay, now next case can be, I have taught you that if this is a closing and the next one is closing, then there are two conditions for count. It can be 0 and it can be greater than 1. Okay, now the next condition can be if it is closing but the next one is opening. Okay, if this is closing, then the same happens. If there is a count in front of it, then I have to just add one more bracket. But if there's a count here, if there's a closing bracket and then there's an opening bracket, but there is no count becomes equal to 0, then I have to add two brackets. I have to add like this and I have to add like this to make it. So I am just making every small chunk balanced and then I have to remove it, because every part removed forms a valid chunk. So I can remove it from the entire series and then try to balance out the rest of the part. So that's the few conditions I have told you. Let's move on to the code to make it more clear. Okay, so this is the code. I have count and answer. If there's an opening, we will always increment our count. For closing, there are two conditions. For closing, if the next one, if the i+1 is valid and if it is also closing, then what we will do, we will check that if our count is greater than 0, then we will just decrement our count. It is a valid form. If there is an opening, then there are two closing, count will just decrease. But if there is an opening, there is no opening, but there are two closings, then we have to add one answer, add one parenthesis, which is opening parenthesis. Else, if there is a closing and then there is no two closing, there is one closing and one opening. This tells that there is a closing, but this else stores that this is a closing and then there's an opening. So if there is a closing, then we'll check that if count is greater than 0, that it means that there is a opening and then there's a closing. So we will just add one answer to it. Answer will increment by 1. But if there is no count, then we will increment answer by 2, because we have to add, if there is a closing and then there is a opening and there is no count means that there is no opening bracket, then we have to add one bracket here and one bracket here. But if there's a closing and then there's an opening and count is greater than 0, which means that there is a bracket here also. So I have to just add one here to make it balanced. And thus in this it is just answer +1 and in this answer +2. And then in the end, after all this, count will store how many brackets are open. Okay, so then we also have to increment our answer with count into 2, which I have told you here. because count will show how many opening brackets are here, and if there are some opening brackets, then I can just easily balance it with 2 into count number of closing brackets. So that's the whole trick for this question, and then we just return an answer. I hope you understand all the 3 questions. If you still have any doubts, please mention down. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Keep coding. Bye.